everybody. It's Monday once again, and here we are talking about a movie.
Yeah, this one here, man.
Full Metal Nosferatu was very excited. Were you the one that initially requested this? Because I had actually never heard of this movie. He's saying the unofficial sequel to A Clockwork Orange. Kind of. I guess it's sort of kind of inspired by A Clockwork Orange.
It mentions the movie.
And it actually overtly references A Clockwork Orange, and it has some scenes that are kind of similar.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll kind of get into how it's similar, but this is kind of like, this is a weird fucking movie, man.
Yeah.
It's a weird fucking movie.
And that's the, we're giving you kind of like, it has two different titles.
It has a bunch of different titles, actually.
One of the titles of this movie is Clockwork Horror?
Clockwork Terror. That's what it was released as in
Clockwork
the UK.
Terror, yeah. So it's totally not a Clockwork Orange ripoff. Totally not. It's Italian, I think, isn't it?
No,
Or
it's Spanish/French.
Okay. It feels very Italian.
It feels like if Kubrick had directed a Giallo movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's very Giallo-esque, but then it's also kind of like weirdly dystopian in the same kind of way, and satirical in the same way that A Clockwork Orange is. But
it is not a Kubrick movie, not by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, no, it's not.
No
like
way.
I said, it's way more like a Giallo. It has way more of a Giallo vibe, I thought.
Yeah, and it's corny. It's got some real corny shit in it.
I didn't love the dubbing. I kind of wish, because I think that you said that it wasn't available on YouTube anymore. However, it is on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's just like a lot harder to find. I actually found it on a small channel called Eurosleaze, and it's not under the title Murder in a Blue World. It's under a title A Clockwork Terror. So it's A Clockwork Terror 1973, and that's how I found it. But, you know, it took a while, like, for me to dig it.
Yes. Some of the scenes are ripped off directly from A Clockwork Orange, and the director's trying to kind of, like, homage and do justice, I think, to the original, and it just... The bad guys, you know, they have kind of like these droogies, you know. Their outfits are... They're motorcycle outfits, basically, in leather, with motorcycle helmets. Open face helmets with like the fucking yellow bubble lens that they had back in the 70s, and whips. They're all carrying whips, and I think the end of the whip is a dildo.
It looked like a dildo. Well, they were using it suggestively like a dildo.
And they don't ride a motorcycle. They're riding around in a Manx, which is a dune buggy, an American dune buggy based on a Volkswagen Bug. And they're just showing up raping people, whole families.
As you do.
But they don't really commit to showing this in the movie. They just it's just threatened and suggested that it happens. Then they take them off screen to do it. Which, man, if this was a Kubrick flick, he'd show it.
Yeah, although I will note that in A Clockwork Orange, they don't actually show the rape, but they do show everything leading up to that. Like, there is like nudity and stuff.
Yeah, like humiliation and terror and shit, you know, in the original.
Which
but not
this
in this.
kind of has that, but there's not really any nudity. I think, like, they ripped that chick's shirt off, but she still has a bra on. Yeah. I don't think there's any nudity in this, now that I'm thinking about it.
No. And it has an American actress as a lead in it.
Well, was she American, or that was Sue Lyon?
I think she was American.
That was kind of another homage to Kubrick, because she was in Lolita.
She was in Lolita. She was American. I looked her up. It said American.
Yeah, okay. I couldn't remember if she was or not. It's been a million years. It's been a million years since I've seen Lolita. Yeah, and she's even reading Lolita at some point in the movie. So it's very, very self-aware. Yeah. Like, it knows that knows what it's doing. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of little in-jokes in there like that. I also want to note, too, that major character in this is played by Jean Sorel, who is a French actor who has been in a bajillion things. I actually recognized him from Belle de Jour with Catherine Deneuve, which is a great fucking movie if you've never seen that. He was also in Lizard in a Woman's Skin, the Lucio Fulci movie, and he was in a really good underrated Giallo film called Short Night of Glass Dolls, which I think I reviewed on my channel like a very long time ago. But yeah, so he's in this. And, okay, so the weird thing about this, I think the thing that... I loved the idea of this, and I loved, like, the vibe of this. I wasn't a fan of the dubbing. I kind of wish that, like, the English dubbing was not great. So I kind of wish that, if it was available like to watch in Spanish or French or whatever, like with subtitles, then that would have been better. But you know,
I don't think it's available in a language.
It might not be.
I think everybody's speaking their own language, and it's dubbed in about 5 or 6
Well, that's how they
ones.
usually did it in Italy, so I'm not really sure like how that.
It had that feel.
It did have that feel to it.
Yeah.
So, but
that's why I thought it was Italian.
The thing that was bizarre about this to me was like the editing. The edit in this is very, very strange.
Yeah, I couldn't really enjoy it because of kind of this ponderous, strange dialogue heavy edit. It's not really pushing the movie along very, very
It takes a long time because when the movie first starts, it seems like there's kind of like 4 or 5 different like disparate threads that don't have anything to do with each other, and it's like it takes a while like into the movie before you figure out like how things are connected to one another. Yeah. You know what I mean? So,
but by then you probably don't care.
I mean, I kind of did because I was like, this is so fucking weird. Like, because I love that kind
Jen has very, specialized tastes. She knows about European film, and she can tolerate a lot. I think for the average American viewer, you're going to get about 15, 20 minutes into this and go, what the fuck is this? And, and probably
this is definitely a what the fuck am I watching kind of movie.
I think it's going to happen.
But like I said, I think in a lot of ways it's meant to be homaging Clockwork Orange, very obviously. And it's also meant to be satirical because particularly like a lot of the commercials and stuff that they watch are just like ridiculous. And you can tell that they're like meant to be ridiculous, especially the one for the Panther underwear, which they show a couple times.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be kind of futuristic.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's set in the same sort of universe. Dystopian future or near future as a Clockwork Orange, but it's not as, I don't know, it still has that same vibe of like, there's all this kind of like retro futurist pop art kind of interior design and stuff, which is actually really cool looking.
Everything's a round or a square.
Yeah, and it's just, and so it has that aesthetic to it. It's not quite as, because I feel like a Clockwork Orange showed more of like shit that was out on the streets and how everything was just like a ruin. Yeah. Like the interiors looked all cool and everything, but then like the outside was
ghetto.
Just, it was just like a ghetto. But it's like here it's not really, it doesn't really seem like that. So like seems not quite as bad, but there are still like news reports about how bad crime is, and there's all these gangs and everything like that. So you have kind of 2 or 3 different things going on at the beginning. And like I said, it takes a while before you realize, because it seems a little bit disjointed. Like you're just kind of like, well, what does that have to do with that other thing? You know what I mean? Because they're showing like people watching these crazy commercials on TV. And incidentally, the original title of this in Spanish was, I'm not going to attempt to pronounce the Spanish because I'll just embarrass myself, but it translates to A Drop of Blood to Die Loving, which doesn't make a lot of sense, although it makes more sense than some of the other titles that it had. In French, it was The Voodoo Ball, which has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on in the movie. And like I said, in the UK, it was released as Clockwork Terror, but that's because they were trying to tie it in with the Clockwork Orange, so I get that. Murder in a Blue World, there's murders in it, okay, but I think Blue World, I think that's just referring to that blue drink that is, and they don't even make like a big deal about it. There's like a commercial for it, and you see a couple of people drinking it like throughout the thing, and it kind of looks like Windex, but that's pretty much it. Like it doesn't have, it's not like, for example, like how in a Clockwork Orange they go to the milk bar, the Moloko milk bar, and they make kind of it's not a huge deal, but it's kind of a big plot point where they go and the milk has different drugs in it. So there's that. So I think they were trying to pay homage to that, but yeah, it's like a weird title, like no matter how you slice it.
Tony, I don't think they were trying to make this goofy. I think it just kind of came out that way. They couldn't maintain the same kind of tone that Kubrick maintained through that movie.
Well, to be fair, nobody can. I mean, Stanley Kubrick.
Kubrick's a fucking genius, all right?
A Clockwork Orange is easily one of my favorite movies of any kind of all time.
Most directors have a sell-by date. They have a good period and a bad. Kubrick was always good. Even his last movie, Eyes Wide Shut, it was still a great movie. Now some people say, well, it wasn't like the other. It's okay. That's a good movie. It's he didn't make any bad movies. And trying to trying to fucking take on a Kubrick project head on like this one's trying to do, boy, you got to really be careful. There's only one other movie that did it, and that's Bronson, the movie about that famous British prisoner. It's in a Clockwork Orange style. I could tell that.
But it's not really. Otherwise, it's not the same. It has kind of a similar.
Yeah, it's just about
vibe to it. But
yeah, it's just about England's craziest fucking prisoner and his story, and it's told kind of like something out of Clockwork Orange, and it feels like that. And that director, I don't know who directed that. He did a great job. I got exactly what he was doing. He's like, yeah, he's like something out of a Clockwork Orange. Crazy motherfucker. Yeah, but. So there's only one other movie that has ever come close to Clockwork Orange, and it's Bronson with Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy starred in it.
Yeah.
This one is trying, but it's missing for me.
Well, like I said, A Clockwork Orange is easily one of the best films of all time, at least in my opinion. So it's like, I don't even think this was trying to be A Clockwork Orange because the plot is a lot different. It just has bits in it that are clearly.
It's trying to be that universe.
Yeah, they're trying to like tipping the hat to Clockwork Orange, but the plot isn't really the same. You know what I mean? And the theme isn't even the same. It's a similar
kind of situation. You got a gang leader who discovers that this hot chick is a serial killer, and he breaks into her house and figures it out, and kind of becomes obsessed with her. Would be a good way to.
Yeah. Not really. He's not really obsessed. He's just thinking of how he can work the situation.
Yeah.
Is all it is.
Yeah, and she's, it's the girl that played Lolita, and she's, they think they're looking for a gay serial killer. It's not. It's her.
Yeah, because it's all, like, young men, like young, handsome men that are being killed.
Yeah, it's her, and she's dressing up in drag as a boy.
Sometimes. She always has a different outfit.
Yeah, goes out to gay bars and shit. It's mixed, gays, lesbians, and shit. And she picks up guys and takes them, and listens to their hearts and then stabs them. And, that's her thing.
John Gora says, Blue Sunshine would be a good movie to review. I did review it. I don't remember if I did it on this channel or maybe on my Scare Salon channel, but I absolutely did review Blue Sunshine. Actually, this movie here, Murder in a Blue World, this gives me kind of the same vibe as Blue Sunshine. This is much weirder than Blue Sunshine. I was expecting Blue Sunshine to be a lot weirder than it turned out, since it was about killer LSD. But it wasn't quite as weird as I hoped. But I did like a long review of that as well. But yeah, so at the beginning of this, you have this woman who you discover she's a nurse, and her name's Anna. And she's really, she's getting an award, and everybody loves her. She gets a big standing ovation and blah-de-blah. And she works at this clinic, hospital, whatever the fuck. And she's dating this doctor. He's played by Jean Sorrell. And this is one of the Clockwork Orange homages, because this doctor is doing experiments on essentially like criminals or degenerates or something like that, and is trying to, it's kind of like electroshock therapy type of thing.
Yeah, it's this movie's version of the Ludovico technique.
Yeah, where he's trying to get them to like be regular, useful citizens, as they call it, because that's there's kind of like a bunch of, sometimes like in the city, there'll be like announcements over the TV or like over some loudspeakers or something like that, how everyone has to be useful citizens and all that kind of stuff. So they're trying to turn these criminals into useful citizens by, like I said, it's essentially they're just like doing electroshock on them. So it's not as involved as the Ludovico technique in Clockwork Orange, where they're like, pinning your eyes open and making you watch violence and making you sick and making you like make the association between the two things.
Yeah, and if you like the movie Clockwork Orange, the book's even better, even though there are some differences in it. But the book goes into more detail of the shit that happens. Pretty good.
Yeah.
And also the philosophy behind it. The moral philosophy, and kind of a anti-government vein ran through that book.
Yeah, so all of this is going on. And then you have this other thing, which initially seems unrelated. You have this family sitting very much in an apartment, much like the writer and his wife in A Clockwork Orange, And they're sitting on their couch in their living room, getting ready to watch A Clockwork Orange on TV. Like, they even show a picture of Stanley Kubrick and everything. Yeah. Like, hey, that's the movie for tonight. And they're like, oh boy, let's watch The Clockwork Orange with our 8-year-old son or whatever. I'm like, don't let him watch that. Come on now.
On broadcast television.
On broadcast television. But yeah. So then, coincidentally, a gang breaks into their house and does a similar thing to what they did in Clockwork Orange. Although in this case, like I said, they're not as menacing as the Droogs.
Yeah, they're goofy.
They have these kind of dark, like, motorcycle jumpsuit type situation.
Yeah, they're leather suits.
Yeah, and
tight leather.
And the helmets and whips and everything. And so they come in and it's implied, well, they beat the shit out of the dad. They beat the shit out of the dad and humiliate him and stuff. And then they take the wife into another room where it's implied they rape her. And then they take the husband into another room where it's implied they rape him as well.
Yeah.
Then they just trash the place. They don't do anything to the kid. Because for a second, like, one of them, like, looks at the kid and I'm like, oh. The kid's going to get it too. But, like, nothing happened to the kid. So that's going on. So there's kind of all this stuff about the news. And it's like, oh, there's all this crime and these gangs and stuff like that. So that's kind of like the Droogs. But they're not, like, the main characters. You know what I mean? So they're doing that, and then meanwhile, you find out that this nurse, Anna, who everybody thinks is awesome and is, like, super respectable and is dating this doctor and everything like that, you're also hearing on the news about they think there's a serial killer in town because all of these young men are turning up dead. Like, they're just finding them in fields and, like, you know, in the river and shit like that. And they're speculating that it's some kind of, like, crazy homosexual, like, going around killing these men, like, just stabbing them in the heart. But you find out pretty soon into the movie that no, it's actually Anna doing it. Now, they don't really have any insight into why she's doing it. Like, they don't, you know what I mean? Like, they don't really go that much into her backstory or, like, what would possess her to do such a thing. It's just kind of left to your imagination, I guess. So they kind of show her, like, you know, picking up couple dudes. The first dude she picks up is at, like, an auction. She's in an auction. She's bidding on Flash Gordon art, which I thought was kind of funny. But she's bidding on that, and there's another guy that's bidding against her, and he's kind of young and hot, and he looks like he had polio or something like that. Like, his leg's kind of messed up, and, like, he has a brace on. And she's like, ooh. And so she kind of follows him and gives him her number, and he comes over later, and they have sex and everything. And then, while he's sleeping, she has a thing where, after they have sex and his heart's beating, like, really loud, and then he falls asleep, she lays down and listens to the heartbeat, and then she grabs her scalpel, because she's a nurse, you know what I mean, just goes, conk, and, like, just stabs him like that. And then she, like, she just drags the body out the house. Like, it's nighttime, but I'm like, I guess the neighbors didn't see anything. Now, it so happens that either this time or, I can't remember if it was this victim or the second victim, but she puts the body in the car and she takes it and just, like, dumps it in the river. And it's, like, not nighttime or nothing. It's, like, it's, like, morning. Now, meanwhile, the gang from earlier that raped the husband and wife in the house, they have had a falling out, and they kicked out one of the gang members, whose name is David, I think. Over they thought he stole some money or something like that. It's not really important. So it so happens that he sees Anna, this beautiful young blonde woman, dumping this dude's body into the river. And he's like, huh, look at that. And again, like I said, he thinks, how can I bend this to my advantage? And because this is kind of a dystopian... Oh, we got a super chat from Stu. Thank you very much. Hi, chat. Tom and Jen, I just earned my privilege to go live now. Well,
all right.
That's good. Thank you very much. But yeah, so there's this scene where he goes into this big... Because like I said, it's kind of like a near future kind of situation. So they have something that's like Google. Like, you can talk to it and it'll answer your questions. So he goes into this big building and there's all these big computers and shit like that. And he's like, I want the name and address of the person that has this car tag number, because he saw her car tag number. And so they tell him what it is. So he basically goes and stalks her. And so he's watching her, like, while she's going around different places. She puts on all different disguises and shit like that, like, to go pick dudes up. And And basically and then he starts like blackmailing her. And meanwhile, there's a whole thing where her boyfriend, the doctor, is, doing these experiments on these people. And it turns out that there's this whole thing with her and David, like he breaks into her house and sees her murdering somebody and like, so starts like taking money from her because she has like quite a bit of money. She got left a bunch of money by her parents, I guess. She lives in this big mansion. And, so there's that. And then after a while, like he gets his ass kicked by the gang because I think the money that she gave him, he goes and buys a motorcycle with it. And the other gang members think that proves that he did take the money, even though I don't think he did. So they go beat the shit out of him. It looks like they stabbed him in the balls. I'm not entirely sure because it's not like the best. It's not like the best quality thing, but yeah, they work him over pretty good. And he ends up in the hospital. And then the doctor is like, "Hey, he's a good candidate for my electroshock therapy to make him a useful citizen." And Anna is just like, no, you can't do that. You know what I mean? Now, I was reading a plot synopsis of this, like, somewhere else. And the plot synopsis seemed to imply that Anna didn't want the doctor to experiment on David because she actually, like, had feelings for him. I don't think that's the case. I think that she didn't want him to experiment on him because he would rat her out. Like, once he became a useful, or there might be something that happened in the experiment that he'd be like, "Oh, hey, by the way, your girlfriend is a serial killer." You know what I mean? I thought that was why. I didn't think she cared about him.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't get that impression. Maybe that just didn't. I thought she was just afraid she was going to get busted. You know what I mean? Oh, we got another super chat from Klaus. Italian movie Clockwork Horror. Yeah, right, Tom. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually Spanish.
Clockwork Terror. It's
Clockwork Terror.
And it's Spanish.
It's got a bunch of different titles. Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of different ones.
Yeah.
None of which make the least bit of sense.
But Clockwork Terror actually makes more sense than
any of the titles.
Yeah, because it's a Clockwork Orange fucking ripoff.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Klaus says he didn't find it on Google. I'm trying to find, like, it took me a while. Like, here's the weird thing. I searched for it on YouTube on my laptop. And I searched for Murder in a Blue World, and I've just found a bunch of reviews of it. And then I searched for Clockwork Terror, and then I found it.
Yeah.
But then when I searched for it on the Xbox, like on the big TV in the bedroom, I put in a Clockwork Terror 1973, and it didn't find anything. So I had to go to, because I remembered the name of the channel was Eurosleaze. So I searched for the channel, and then went to that, and then I found it. But there's a channel called Eurosleaze, and they have it. Unless it's been taken down since last night. I'm not really sure. Thank you very much, Victor. Gave us a super chat.
Yeah.
Happy belated birthday, Jenny. Yeah. Thank you very much. I had a nice birthday on Friday. Fun weekend, too.
Birthday makes you gay, bro.
Birthdays make you gay?
Yeah.
Only on that one day? Or
only him.
Oh, okay. Only him.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Didn't know that?
Yeah.
Shit, he's been telling me what made him gay for fucking decades now.
Yeah.
10 years he's been telling me what made him gay. This movie make you gay, man. You watch this one.
It might.
Yeah.
Yeah, Full Metal says, I don't think she had feelings for him. I didn't get that impression either. I thought she was worried that he was gonna, when he was undergoing the treatment, or if the treatment worked and he became a useful citizen, he would immediately be, I'm a moral, upstanding citizen now, so I have to go to the police and report that I know that this woman is a serial killer. I thought that's what was going on. But she's trying to get the doctor to, like, not do it. And then she pretty much just flips out at the end and ends up killing the dude. And then the doctor just, like, walks in and sees her, and she's all bloody, and she's, like, all crazy and shit. And then it turns out, because there's this very funny bit where the doctor is giving a demonstration of, like, hey, here's 3 dudes that were horrible, degenerate criminals, and I did the treatment on them, and look how they're all super refined and rich and snotty and everything, like, sitting around this table and with tuxedos on.
Yeah.
Like, and like that. And, but after she flips out and kills David, then you see at the end, like, the very last bit is, like, you're watching these 3 guys and they just go completely ham on each other and just, like, fucking stab each other in the face and everything like that. So it's like, so obviously the treatment didn't work at all. Like, it didn't do anything. So like I said, they were kind of trying to. I guess I wouldn't call it a parody. It's not a parody, but it is like satirical. It definitely had a satirical edge to it because I mean, particularly like I said, the commercials that they showed on TV. Because there's this one commercial for Panther underwear, and actually the serial killer like picks up the model that was in that later, like in some kind of gigolo bar. She kind of dresses up as an older lady, and goes in there and like picks him up, and he's just like totally full of himself. And he's just, like, sitting there, like, posing, like, all this in the fucking apartment and stuff. It's actually pretty... It's funny, but it's, like, not zany funny. It's just kind of, like...
The problem with the humor in this movie is that the humor is kind of lost on the American viewer because of all the dubbing. Because it already sounds funny and kind of corny with all the dubbing. And then when they try to do something that's funny, the voiceover, the dubbing that they use is zany. Kind of. It has to up it even more. It just... Yeah, it's like... The tone is not...
That's why it's... Movies like this... I mean, with Giallo movies, I give it a pass because it's...
Yeah, you're expecting that.
You expect it. You can't really... Most Giallo movies, you can't actually watch them, like, in... although there are some that you can watch in Italian, because I have seen some. But a lot of them are just dubbed into whatever. But I would have preferred to have seen this in its original language, whatever that was.
Spanish, Italian, French humor from this era in cinema, it doesn't translate to the American audience too well. I mean, think about it.
I mean, I get what they were going for. Yeah. And it would have been funny, like I said, and I don't think it was the movie's fault. I think it was the dubbing. Because I think, like you said, I think the dubbing was...
The dubbing, it throws the viewer. But, you know, you got to look at it this way. One of the most popular comics in France from around this time would have been Jerry Lewis.
Yeah.
And there was nothing funny about Jerry
Lewis.
Did
they really love Jerry Lewis as much as...
Evidently.
Because I've always heard that, like, my whole life, that, the French just love Jerry Lewis. Now, a lot of Americans
I think they gave him a bunch of awards and shit, and they always had him on as guests and shit, and that he was big
But,
over there.
it's just... But I don't know if that's, like, one of those stereotypes that it's like, if you actually went to France, they're like, nah.
But it was back in those days.
Back in those days.
Back in those
days, a lot of Americans thought he was funny, too, and he's not.
He's not funny. No.
So.
And he's annoying.
He's not funny.
And Johnny Carson said that man, he said this not on his show, but to Ed. I think he said that man belongs nowhere near a camera or a child. He couldn't stand him. He was banned from The Tonight Show. So you make of that what you will. But he said he was evil. And a lot of people say that motherfucker was just insufferable to be around. Jerry Lewis.
He kind of sounds like... I've never been a big fan of like over-the-top, like zany kind of humor. It can be done well.
Yeah.
But, you know, the second that, like, somebody starts mugging for the camera, or, like, maybe that's why I didn't like a lot of Jim Carrey movies.
I was going to say, Jim Carrey.
Like, that kind of shit, it's just, like, that just gets on my fucking nerves. I can't
I don't know if he's still that way, but evidently Jim Carrey was just evidently a disaster.
Well, the thing about Jim Carrey is that he can fucking act. Yeah. Like, he's been in dramatic roles, like, fucking Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. He was fucking great in that. He was fucking great in that. That's a great fucking movie. We need to review that one.
The only dude that was fucking the over-the-top, weird-ass humor like that I can remember that people said he was actually good to be around was Robin Williams. They said that Robin Williams... Remember back in the 70s when he was just this cocaine-fueled fucking...
Yeah, he was just coked out of his mind, like,
the Mork from Ork fucking thing. And he wouldn't shut the fuck up and everything, you know.
I did like Mork and Mindy, though.
Yeah. They said he would just drive you crazy. Because he was just so coked up, but people said that he was a nice guy. You know that you could be around him
without wanting to punch him in the dick.
Punch him, yeah. Evidently, that was not the deal with. Remember Chevy Chase?
Oh, I've heard he is like a huge asshole. I've heard he's a huge asshole.
Yeah.
I've hardly heard anything positive.
Yeah, everybody says that dude is an asshole. Nobody liked him.
With a capital AH.
Yeah. And he has some great movies. The Fletch movies I thought were fucking hilarious.
Yeah, he's funny.
He's funny on a movie, but not in person. And he cannot think on his feet either. Like Howard Stern used to call him and call him and troll him live, and he wasn't funny at all. Just a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fullmetal Nosferatu points out, it says, if you watch a Forbidden Orange documentary, they explain how A Clockwork Orange wasn't screening in Spain, so Spain produced this.
Oh, is that what it was?
That's kind of what I heard, yeah.
Okay.
But it's just like they didn't show it there, and so they're like, well, we're going to make our own.
Okay, yeah, and we'll refer to it.
But like I said, it's a lot different. Like, the plot is a lot different.
The tone is totally different,
and
too.
The tone is different, but it has similarities, like I said, with the whole Gang of Droogs thing, and, you know, the home invasions, and
mentally reprogramming
people. But honestly, the main part of the story is the female serial killer and the guy like trying to blackmail her. So it's like that other stuff is just kind of around the fringes. Whereas like A Clockwork Orange is basically about the gang and about Alex.
It has all the attributes of an Italian Giallo movie.
It is very Giallo.
I thought it was Italian. You might as well just be Italian.
It's not as gory as a lot of Giallo movies are.
And it didn't have the nudity. If it's Italian, no nudity. If it's Italian, it'd have tits and ass in it, and blood, and eyes getting popped. It's got to stab somebody.
Some of them have
an Italian movie's got to have somebody's eye getting stabbed in it somehow.
Didn't like one of them? This might have been a Lucio Fulci one. Might have been New York Ripper. Wasn't that the one where the serial killer's like stabbing chicks in the cooch?
Yeah, there's all kinds.
I know there was more than one.
I do give the Italians credit with good Giallo.
They love gore, man.
It was the shit didn't make any fucking sense.
Some of them do, kind of
weird ass edits, but they delivered. They gave you gore. They gave you a colorful scene.
The good ones did. I've seen some boring ones too.
Good looking women. You're probably gonna see some nudity almost always. And you know, when you're a teenage guy, that's all you need. You know, it was a good movie. You know, they knew how to get asses into seats.
Yeah, they made a lot of those in the 70s.
Yeah. Now, America made a Giallo too during that time. It was called Alice, Sweet Alice. You would think it was an Italian movie, but it's not really. It's an American movie, homaging Giallo. It does a lot of the same thing, you know, murder mystery about an underage girl, Alice. But it's American. Even though it's Italian Americans are in it.
Yeah, it's like based on an Italian American neighborhood.
Like Catholics over there in Chicago or something.
I would also argue that Don't Look Now, which that's not really an American movie, isn't it? Because I think Nicholas Roeg directed it, and I don't think he's American. Is he Dutch or something?
Yeah.
But it had American actors in it. Well, Donald Sutherland was in it. Julie Christie was in it. She's British, isn't she?
Yeah.
But that was kind of like a Giallo too, and that was even set in Italy for like a lot of it.
Yeah. So, but Alice, Sweet Alice, I found that a very enjoyable movie to watch because the edit was correct for the American audience. It wasn't as some of those Italian movies seemed like they were making them up as they were going along, like it wasn't planned, and I think some of them were made up as they were going along. But not Alice, Sweet Alice. Very coherent.
Well, like I said, I love Giallo movies, and I've seen a lot of them. Like I said, some of them are just kind of pedestrian or boring. And there tend to be... They're on, like, kind of a sliding scale. It's like some of them are kind of like Dario Argento shit, where it's, like, super gory and, like, super operatic and, like, over the top and, like, awesome. Some of them are more like police procedurals and aren't as gory and aren't as lurid. But, you know, a lot of them just kind of fall in there in between. I tend to like the ones that are kind of more on the Dario Argento end. Although I have seen some police procedural ones that were actually pretty cool. And I actually tend to like ones... you had ones like All the Colors of the Dark, which kind of had like a little bit of like a psychedelic kind of thing to it, which was actually really cool. I really liked that one. But, you know, they didn't all have that. Some of them had slight supernatural shit, but that wasn't usually... Because usually a Giallo is... You know, like a police procedural, like a murder mystery. It didn't usually have supernatural elements, but some of them did.
During that 60s and 70s, what the Italians were good at was volume. Mass. They made lots of movies quickly because people went to the theater and it was cheap. You know, and a lot of Italian homes didn't even have televisions at this point. So that, you know, you had young people going to the movies constantly, fucking, you know, several times a week. And it didn't cost them anything. It was like a nickel. So that was like their version of television. And they made a lot of shit. And some of them were geniuses. Some of those guys were really good. And really, the greatest gift Italy ever did, really, in terms of cinema to the United States, would be that they saved the Western. All right, Sergio Leone. All right. After those movies came out, and Clint Eastwood was working with him, he came back here and started his own fucking studio, and just, you know, they rewrote what a Western should be. Sergio Leone understood it, and fucking from then on out, all American Western movies are basically spaghetti Westerns. That same kind of themes and everything, real epic, good fucking score. And that's the Italians, man. Because before that, people don't realize, before that, most of the fucking American Western movies were stale as shit. Just super stale. They sucked. A few of them were good, but most of them weren't any good.
Fullmetal Nosferatu says a Forbidden Orange might still be on HBO Max. I might actually want to watch that because I have HBO Max. So I'm gonna look. Plus, Malcolm McDowell does some narration. Ooh, I'll watch anything he's in. He's rad. John Gore says De Palma took a lot from Argento and Hitchcock, of course. Yeah, I mean, De Palma was a Hitchcock stylist for sure, but it's weird because, like, Argento took some shit from Hitchcock, too. Like, he was a big Alfred Hitchcock fan. It was kind of like a back and forth kind of thing. John Carpenter, also a big Dario Argento fan. Like, you can see a lot of the influence, and especially in his earlier movies. Tom Baker says, I like Suspiria and Deep Red. Yeah, those are...
You got a Suspiria poster right there.
I do, yeah. Those are probably my two favorite ones. I also really like Bird with the Crystal Plumage and Tenebrae. I even like Opera, which came out in 1987, which was also kind of a giallo. And Klaus says Suspiria is a band. Yes, it is. It's like a goth rock band. They named themselves after that movie. Actually, a really good band. I have a couple of their CDs now that you mention it. But yeah, this... I don't know. I haven't seen anything else that this guy directed. Murder in a Blue World. What's his name? Eloy de la Iglesia. That's his name. So, I don't know. It's a weird-ass movie for sure. Like, if you liked A Clockwork Orange and you're curious to check it out, you probably should. But, like, I don't know. I thought of it more like... It was kind of more like a giallo movie. Just in the way it was kind of structured and the sort of vibe of it. But then it had like a weird satirical vibe to it. And I liked that, but I'm not really sure, like you said, I'm not really sure all the humor landed. I got what they were going for, but like you said, it's kind of hard
through the dubbing
and you know, so
the tone is too fucked up.
It's kind of, so it's kind of like strange. But I will say, like, a lot of the interiors and shit like that were really cool.
It makes more sense that The Clockwork Orange didn't air in that country. So this was the answer to the market demand for it. So it was a Clockwork Orange-like material, knowing that it's a spin-off.
It's a Clockwork Orange-like substance.
Yeah, a Clockwork Orange-like substance. Well, you know, the Italians did the same thing. You like Jaws? Well, shit, here's another one. You like that Jaws? Okay, here's another one. Here's a whole bunch of Jaws. Yeah. Here's a Jaws-like substance. You know,
they made a couple Exorcist ripoffs too.
Just like over and over again.
I reviewed one called Beyond the Door. It was actually not bad.
Beyond the Door, I remember, scared the shit out of me.
It actually was great. It had its own shit going on.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It was obviously like an Exorcist ripoff, and you could tell that that's what they were going for.
The walls shaking and everything. And I was a kid and I saw that and I was like, oh man, that's some scary shit there. I didn't see The Exorcist though.
It was weird.
They wouldn't let me see The Exorcist. I could see that one though.
I mean, The Exorcist is a lot scarier than Beyond the Door. Yeah. That's for sure.
Well, it's more serious.
Some of the scenes in The Exorcist still fucking freak me out, and it's none of the stuff that you think.
The little flashes of the face watching you.
That's pretty creepy. But you know what creeps me out the most in that, and I know this is just me. The fucking dream that Father Karras has about his mom coming out of the subway thing, and then like sitting on the bed. That fucking freaks me out.
Jimmy, why'd you do it to me, Jimmy?
I don't know why that freaks me out.
You are not my mother.
I don't know why that freaks me out so bad.
Yeah.
Shit like that freaks me out way more than monster shit or anything like that. Just creepy shit like that.
Yeah,
that's like
Max von Sydow. The attack is psychological.
I think what freaked me out the most about the scene of his mom coming out of the subway thing is it was silent.
Yeah.
I think that's what kind of disturbed me about it. It was just kind of the juxtaposition of like what should be a really noisy.
There was a huge Christian revival based on the back of that movie. That's how that's how much that movie scared. Because
like, oh shit, the devil is real.
That scared a lot of people. That scared a lot of people into going back to the church, and that was kind of, I think, the beginning of the Satanic Panic. I think that's part of it.
I would argue that Rosemary's Baby might have primed because that came out like 5 years before.
Yeah, but The Exorcist came out and then The Omen, and I think that was it.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, they're looking for the devil in the fucking records. And, you can't listen to Judas Priest. That's Satan.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Just anything, man.
I mean, I definitely think because there were a lot of satanic themed horror movies. Like I said, even in the 60s. Probably, like I said, Rosemary's Baby being the best known example. But I think when The Exorcist came out, that fucking blew the doors off.
Because the earlier shit wasn't really, they didn't really take it that seriously.
Yeah.
But there was but Exorcist was a huge movie. It was a blockbuster. It was like Jaws.
Yeah, people were like lining up around the block to see that shit.
And that movie had gravitas. It was serious.
Yeah.
It had a very serious tone to it, and the production rates were real good. Real high. And then the Omen came out after that. Remember everybody was talking about that?
Yeah.
And I was a little kid. They said that I looked like Damian. She saw pictures of me as a little boy.
He did look like Damian when he was a kid.
They thought it.
I was like, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, he looked like that little boy from the Omen. Had the hair and everything.
Yeah, he did have like little Damian hair.
Yeah.
Full Metal Nosferatu says Blood on Satan's Claw. That was a good one, but that's kind of more a folk horror because that was like a witchcraft. That was a British folk horror because kind of akin to The Wicker Man. But that's great. I've reviewed that too, but it was a long time ago. I don't know if Tom has seen it. I really like Blood on Satan's Claw though. That's a great fucking movie. That's kind of up there with Witchfinder General and all that kind of stuff, which we've also reviewed. But, Victor says, my 4th grade teacher told us during class that if you play Madonna backwards, it's a prayer to the devil.
Yeah.
Madonna of all things. So innocuous. I really don't know. Man. People don't get out much.
The whole backward masking thing, man, it all started with those guys on the radio programs talking about it. The Christian guys on the radio program. And they were talking about turning Stairway to Heaven backwards on...
Well, weren't they doing that like to the Beatles too? Like even before
the Beatles would record shit backwards.
They would record shit backwards, probably just to fuck with people.
Yeah. It was on Revolution number 9.
Because it's funny. Because some people will just kind of like... You could say, oh yeah, I totally said
they got that shit from Jimi Hendrix, though. Jimi Hendrix had the drum tracks going backwards.
Yeah.
Like Third Stone from the Sun on fucking... Jimi Hendrix was a fucking... I could argue that Jimi Hendrix was the genesis of industrial music. Because some of that shit sounded a lot like Skinny Puppy.
Yeah. Backwards
drums. Like Third Stone from the Sun, that one song. It's psychedelic. And then there's like backwards voices going and slowed down stuff. Quite cool. And it's about aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah. UFO music. Jimi Hendrix believed in UFOs.
I think a lot of people did back
then. Yeah.
Well, a lot of people still do.
Yeah, if you take enough LSD, you can see all kinds of UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He called it space music.
Yeah.
Space music.
John Gora says just don't play Wham backwards.
Yeah.
The universal collapse in on its own.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, I think didn't they play Careless Whisper at the club on Saturday night? I thought they did. It was pretty late at night. Yeah. Like everyone was drunk and everybody was like just laughing their asses off. Like
these middle-aged women hanging off of me and Jen. One was so drunk she fell down and fucking pulled Jen down the ground.
Yeah, she was dancing with me and she'd fell. Like I was just like, oh shit,
you guys are so awesome.
I think I'd seen her before, but I don't know what her name is. Like she looked kind of familiar. Like you kind of, we kind of like sort of know.
There was some redhead there that kept creeping around. I tried to say, hey, who are you? She said, I don't want to talk. Remember? The one that was on the fucking bench behind us.
Oh yeah.
Stayed there all night. Didn't want to talk.
Yeah, she just kind of
and didn't even dance.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're up to.
Yeah, and she was in her like fucking kind of wannabe goth outfit with her cheap boots.
I never saw her before.
Yeah, I never saw her before, but yeah.
So maybe she.
You didn't want to hang out. Why are you hanging out with us? Go fucking over there with those fucking normies.
Well,
That's funny.
Camp Guy says one of the classical composers wrote a symphony movement that played exactly the same if you started at the beginning or the end and played it backwards. You got to be kind of a genius to fucking do that. I had heard
Mozart
about that.
could do some shit like that.
That sounds like some Mozart shit.
Yeah.
I don't think it was Mozart though. But that sounds like some shit he would do.
Yeah.
Just because he could.
Yeah.
So he's like, look how fucking smart I am. Man. Speaking of, man, we should review Amadeus one of these days. Have we ever reviewed Amadeus?
We didn't review that.
That's also one of my favorite movies.
I liked it when I was a kid.
I fucking love Amadeus. It's so
I've
good.
seen it recently.
Even though it's not based in real life.
No.
It's very, very loosely based.
I think one of the things that is accurate is how annoying he was.
I don't know if he was annoying, but he was pretty vulgar.
Yeah, he was foul-mouthed, said all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
But I'd also heard that I remember hearing that a lot of people didn't like being around him. That he was kind of annoying. Sounds like he might have been a little bit on the spectrum or something.
That's kind of the impression that I got, because I've read like several biographies of him, and I don't know if anybody said that outright, but that was kind of the impression that I got.
I think he was also just very pampered too.
Yeah,
he just got everything he wanted.
Probably. Well, yeah, like he was a prodigy.
And he was a superstar.
One of the things that made me sad, and I think I've mentioned this before, was that he had a sister who was just as good as him.
Yeah.
But
they had to marry her ass off.
Yeah, they didn't. I mean, they would tour together like when they were kids, but once she got old enough, they're like, "Oh, you're a woman. Get out of here. Go get married." And you're not allowed to. Well, you're not allowed to be a genius.
Well, the idea of an unmarried woman fucking with a business and a job and being a celebrity, nah.
Yeah, very.
The only women that did that were actresses, and they were hookers.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, basically.
They were the only ones that had the freedom to do that.
Yeah.
But that just I remember that made me really sad.
Right. Which that is an interesting thing that me and Jennifer already touched on that subject. Actually, it's the freest women probably throughout history. You know, when you go back, Renaissance or even Victorian era here in the United States, were the hookers. The hookers actually had power. The madams.
Yeah.
Powerful madams. Some of them had state power because they knew. They were sleeping with the governor and supplying the governor with all the fucking women for his parties.
They knew all kind of info. They
knew everything. Yeah,
they could weaponize it.
What do I do? I'll go ask Madam what she knows everybody. She knows somebody who fixed that problem. You know, so they were kind of like the social centers. They had a lot of social power that equated to true power. You didn't want to fuck with her. She had some gangster behind her. That kind of stuff. You know what I mean? She'd get the governor to come down on you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. It's like it's fascinating. It's fascinating. Like because like I said a while back, I read I can't remember what the name of the book was, but it was talking about like some of the most powerful courtesans, madams, like in England, like in the 19th century, 18th, 19th century, and it was really interesting because like I said, they had a lot of freedom and power that most women did not have in that era.
Yeah, and in New Orleans, it was all the octoroon balls and octoroon mistresses, part black mistresses. They had all the freedom and power that white women could never have because the women, rich white women were married. They couldn't really do anything. They were kind of under the control of the husband. And the husband ran the fucking show, and she just a stay-at-home mom, kind of just ran the plantation or ran the household, if she was real rich. Poor women didn't really matter for anything, really.
No.
They just washing laundry and fucking working on a farm at the house. It didn't really matter if they got married or not. But the one that had all the social power were these mistresses. And a lot of them were in Louisiana, were octoroon or quadroon, which is, 1/4, 1/8 black. You had white women pretending to be 1/4, 1/8 with black just to get that status. And that was just what was that called? It was called plissage. You can look it up. It was something, they did it in the South. Placeage, hookup culture.
Victor says, Jenny, have y'all done a show on the yogurt shop murders? I thought we had. I know I wrote about it in one of my Faceless Villain books. But I've heard, because I know they just did that series on it that I think was on HBO Max, which I still haven't got around to watching yet. But I heard that it just got solved. Like, I thought they just made an arrest. So that might be something. I'll look and see, but... Because I know I wrote about it, I just couldn't remember if we did a show about it. But that might be a good one to put in the rotation because, like I said, I've heard that they just made an arrest in it.
Yeah.
So that might be a good one to do.
So you want to shut this down?
I reckon so.
All right.
All right. So yeah. So like I said, if this movie, it's a little bit hard to find. I found it on YouTube under A Clockwork Terror 1973 on the Eurosleaze channel. But other than that, I couldn't find it anywhere else. But like I said, if you're into Clockwork Orange or you like weird Giallo-esque type of movies, then maybe check it out. It's pretty strange. I don't know. I kind of dug it, but then in a way I kind of didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it wasn't my cup of tea.
It was but it's pretty weird. So if you like that kind of stuff, then like from the 70s.
It was worth knowing about, though. Seeing what, so it's just like if you're into film, then that's probably one you should see.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't have to watch through the whole thing. Just get an idea of what it was they were dealing with there, I'm glad that I know about it.
It came together more because, like, at first I was just kind of like, "What's going on?" Like, it seemed like really disjointed, but then it started like all the connections started being made, like as you watched it, because you weren't sure like what everything had to do with one another. So I guess
knowing that it was meant to fill a niche in a market, that makes a lot more sense to me.
All right, so we're going to wrap it up for this evening. Thank you, everybody, for dropping by. Thank you for your super chats. Hopefully you guys can come back on Wednesday for our regular show. We're going to be talking about, speaking of music, we're going to be talking about the murder of John Lennon and also some Beatles conspiracies. I think we covered a couple of Beatles conspiracies on maybe one of our rock and roll mystery shows like a long time ago, but we'll kind of get more into that, like I said, and talk like a lot about the John Lennon murder, because we've never done a show on that before. So that's what we're going to do on Wednesday. Zach should be happy because he's been asking me to do that show for like a long time, and it finally won in the poll overwhelmingly. So that's what we're going to do the show about on Wednesday night. So hopefully you guys can join us for that. Have a good day tomorrow, and we will see you guys again on Wednesday night.